In the quiet town of Elmwood, an odd illness had taken hold. It was a malady unlike any other, casting a pallor over the once vibrant townsfolk, draining them of their life's vitality. Their robustness faded, replaced by an unsettling frailty. Their once rosy cheeks now ashen, their strength diminished. An eerie aversion to garlic permeated their senses, the once cherished ingredient now a harbinger of discomfort. As despair gripped Elmwood, a glimmer of hope arrived in the form of a new face, Dr. Alistair. He was a man of charisma, his eyes twinkling with the promise of a cure. He spoke of an antidote, a remedy to their mysterious ailment, his voice carrying an allure of salvation. Despite the growing unease, the townsfolk clung to this beacon of hope. And so, with hope in their hearts, the townsfolk welcomed Dr. Alistair, unaware of the darkness he carried. Dr. Alistair was different, his methods unconventional. Where most doctors held regular hours, Dr. Alistair seemed to come alive as the sun dipped below the horizon. He made house calls under the cloak of night, his footsteps the only sound in the hushed, sleeping town. Always he carried with him a peculiar accessory, a glass of what he claimed was red wine, a deep, crimson liquid that he sipped sparingly throughout his visits. And the patients? They always seemed to get better, at least at first. After a visit from Dr. Alistair, their pallor would be replaced by a rosy glow, their energy returning. But this vibrancy was fleeting. Over time, a recurring weakness would set in, a fatigue that left them even more drained than before his visit. And so, while the town slept, Dr. Alistair worked, his true nature hidden in the shadows. But as the moon waxed full and the night grew deep, Dr. Alistair's secret began to unravel. The townsfolk started noticing strange happenings. One of them, a patient of Dr. Alistair, woke up to find two peculiar puncture marks on his neck. An eerie coincidence or a sinister sign, who could say? Meanwhile, the local garlic seller, a jovial man fond of his trade, was baffled. His sales had taken a nosedive, an anomaly that coincided strangely with the arrival of our dear doctor. Was this mere chance, or was there a darker explanation? But the most chilling revelation was yet to come. The town's blood bank, a lifeline for many, was suddenly found empty, drained to the last drop. The security cameras showed no signs of a break-in, and every door was locked from the inside. And then, in the cold light of the moon, the horrifying truth dawned. Dr. Alistair wasn't just a doctor. In the heart of Elmwood, a chilling revelation spread like wildfire. A cold shiver of dread ran through the town as the truth about Dr. Alistair came to light. This model of medical virtue, this pillar of the community, was not a man at all, but a creature of the night, a vampire feeding off the very people he had vowed to heal. Elmwood was plunged into panic. The streets were filled with whispers of fear, homes barricaded against the coming night. Mothers clutched their children close, fathers armed themselves with makeshift weapons, and the elderly prayed for deliverance. The once peaceful town was now a fortress, its inhabitants living in constant terror of the doctor who was supposed to protect them. They rallied together, their fear fueling their desperate search for a solution. They knew they had to stop Dr. Alistair. But as they rallied against the darkness, one question lingered. How do you stop a vampire? In the face of terror, the town of Elmwood stood united. Their resolve was unbroken, their plan to confront the menacing Dr. Alistair firmly in place. They were determined to cleanse their town of this horrifying presence. And so, as the sun set and night fell, they waited for Dr. Alistair, their fate hanging in the balance.